Hi guys, my name is Anya. Welcome back to my virtual fashion lab. This is the second video of the puffer jacket that we're creating from the sweatshirt. All the files you can find on my website, virtualfashionlab.com. There are the assets, there are the ZPRJ ready files, there are the XF file of the sweatshirt and of the final puffer jacket, of the mid puffer jacket, and also the Illustrator file of the artwork and all the trims that I'm creating along for that jacket, and I'm showing and teaching you how to do that. So right now I brought the Illustrator artwork that I created. It's just a vector file that I doodled in Illustrator, and then I saved it as Illustrator file, and now I brought it as the vector as internal lines. And I'm gonna quickly select all the lines, and just to make sure, because I want everything to be internal lines. I probably could just make it as the square around, and then it would eliminate some work for me, but you live, you learn. So mine is very intricate. I have a lot of lines. If you don't like something, you can always adjust. My advice though, the more intricate your artwork or your lines are, the bigger the scale you need to bring it in close, so then it actually will read all these curves and points and lines. Otherwise, if for example this artwork I would bring in the actual regular scale to be able to fit it on my jacket, then it would not read it properly, because it's all comes down to the particle distance. And then in this case I made it just really large because I wanted to make sure that all the points, that every curve is translated correctly. And now once it's all as the internal lines, I'm scaling it down to fit into my patterns. And I can rotate it, I can scale it if I want, I can stretch it, in any direction. The same how if you would bring the graphic and you could, do all the manipulations to it. I'm gonna move the pattern out of the way a little bit because they're symmetric, so my internal lines are slightly overlapping of the artwork, and I just want to have a clear view and see what's happening. So I'm gonna just play with the placement and see what works best, how it lays nicely, what do I like the most, how it hits the garment and what place. It doesn't have to be straight. I can do it on angle, I can just cut it off and paste it in another place. Once I'm happy with my scale, I'm just going to take those lines and I'm going to copy them to the back of the pattern. So then I have my front and back for my puffer jacket for the channels. Puffers are very tough and claw in terms of controlling how much puffiness you have, especially if you don't have that much of the internal lines. So kind of like the more repetitive and smaller pattern it is, obviously the more sewing down and less puffy they will be. If I would have only 3 lines across my front and across my back, then it would be pretty puffy jacket, especially if I would put the higher point. I like to use the tool for the pressure that is used for the puffers, but you can create the puffer also with the fill tool if it's something that you prefer to do. Now let's create our puffiness. So I'm just gonna go the regular route that I find that works the best for me. I'm just gonna do the layer clone under, and then I'm gonna give it a different value of the pressure, so the minus on the bottom and the plus on the top. I want my sleeves to be a little bit puffier, so I'm gonna add a little bit higher value for plus and minus because I just want them to kind of explode a little bit more. The nice part about doing the clone under and clone over is that, as you see, all these tiny little internal lines are already sewn for me, which is really great for the puffer, you know, and for amount of lines I have here. The software did everything for me. I just want to unsew those other pattern internal lines that I don't really want to have pressure on in between the layers. Okay, my favorite time, let's add the zipper. So in this video I'm just gonna add generic zipper. I'm not gonna change it to super nice one, super realistic one. The best way to apply the zipper is in 3D window. The 2D window is not very stable, especially if you have multiple patterns, or if you have like a patterns layover, or you know, your front is one amount of patterns and your left side is another amount of patterns. 3D window is the best place to apply the zipper tool. So I'm just gonna apply the zipper tool right now, and then in third video, once you watch this one, make sure you go to the third video. You will see how I make it super duper nice, and we're also gonna create a custom zipper pull, and I will show you how to add it to your CLO3D style. Now it's the fun part. Not so much, because I have so many intricate lines. Luckily, my patterns are symmetrical left and right, so I need to do it only on one side. So what I'm gonna do, I will apply the top stitching with the 0 offset, because I'm going to be applying it directly on the line and I want it to be directly on that line. I'm going to change my thickness to 100 and my SPI length to 10, because that's the most visible, the most nicest representation of the top stitching. And I'll make sure that I have my 3D map on, which again, even if your top stitches as a texture, it will give in the render window and even in 3D window much more realistic. It will give you this like dent of the top stitching, you know, when it has like a little pressure on, so it doesn't look like it's just some graphic of the top stitch on top. It's a main thing that I don't like about default top stitching, and what I do recommend, especially if you're using a lot of top stitching, just create your own library. You know, set up the thickness, the length, and the 3D map, and maybe like choose the texture or OBJ, whatever works for you best, and just create your own library. And you can see in the very top, once you click in the object browser on the top stitching, in the top right corner in the property editor, you can just click on save. You can name it how you want, and then anytime you want to reuse that top stitching, click open and then search it, you know, in the very organized, hopefully, folder files that you have, and then add it to your file. So you don't need then every time to, you know, reset all the settings for each top stitching. You already have your own library. The other thing that I highly recommend is, if your style is top stitching heavy, which are, for example, in my situation, I have so many top stitching for my intricate puffer. It also goes to the very pieced patterns for leggings. You know, all this like really nice lines, because you do need to apply all the top stitching there, or like cover stitch, you know, just to give this realism. Or jeans or pants, or you know, like maybe you have smoking, or you know, any style that has a lot of top stitching. Once you click on that top stitching in object browser in property editor, make sure that in type you change it to the texture, not OBJ. The difference when it's texture is just as like a texture, so it's much lighter. It's not slowing down your computer. As you saw, I had it on the texture, and then once you finish, once you're ready to render, then you click on, you select all of your top stitching and you select object. Object, comparing to to texture, is a geometry. It's a geometry that you're adding to your style. So imagine how much top stitching I have. Imagine all of that to be as extra geometry in the style. My computer would probably shut down on me and be like, bye, the file is too heavy for me to process and you're not even done yet. So while you're working, just make sure that all of your top stitching is at texture, and once you're ready to render, just switch it all your top stitching by selecting all of them holding shift and switch all of them to the object, and it will make a nice visual difference. And in the process, while you're working on the style, it's not going to slow you down because you were in the texture mode. Okay, I'm gonna add those regular stock grommets as a placeholder. I really do not like them because the way how they behave when you simulate, then also you can't really thread through the draw cord, which I really love to do because it just gives this extra nice oomph. You can really see that the thread goes inside of the garment through the grommet. So there are like those tricks when you create extra shape and then you do it like in the low zero opacity. It's just too many pattern pieces for me then, and so I created my own way of how I do my grommets, and I will show it to you in the third video as well. Okay, so now let's create and add the draw cord. Again, this guy is just for placement, and one of the video further on I'll show you different ways how to make the draw cord, also how to apply the texture, how to recolor it, and how to make it extra cute and nice, and what to do with the draw cord to make it more realistic the way how you're sewing it into the garment. So for now, let's just make it as a placeholder, to have it for the look, and not to forget about the draw cords. When you're adding some details that are just so small and then it's not going to affect the drape or the appearance of the other patterns, just make sure to freeze them all. Or if it's really heavy and really complicated and slows down your computer, you can even deactivate, but just the patterns, not with the sewing. Then it will help your computer to process everything much easier. To do that, you do the same as when you do the freezing. You're selecting the pattern pieces that you want to deactivate, then you right click, and then from the menu it's above the freezing, you choose deactivate. This is the easy way to add the perpendicular line to the X or Y or your local, so you don't have to do all this extra work with the internal line and double clicking, triple clicking. You just click into the point. Okay, let's delete that line because we don't need to fold anymore. We want it to be organic and round. I'm gonna sew the points where my draw cord is gonna be joined by the draw draw cord adjuster. So for now, as it's only the placeholder, I just want to have kind of like the look where it's happening, but not necessarily the execution. You see, those eyelets, they cannot even have a draw cord going through them without colliding and moving all around. So much instability. Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much time here because it's only a placeholder, and I'm gonna have much better eyelets in the further videos. I have a pretty low particle distance for my draw cords because I like them smoother and nicer even in the beginning when it's only as a placeholder. Let's unfreeze my garment so we can see all the colors, and look how much cuter it got. It starts looking more and more like the puffer jacket that we want. So cute. Let's see how it looks in the render window. I think it starts resembling more and more the final garment that we're gonna have. Okay, stay tuned for the third video. Bye!